in a single night. For centuries, historians and scientists dismissed it as myth, a dramatic legend too convenient to be true. It is not a myth. Scientists now have a name for it: caries subita. Sudden, catastrophic hair whitening triggered by extreme psychological stress. And while you are not facing a guillotine, the exact same biological mechanism that bleached Marie Antoinette's hair is operating inside your scalp right now, just more slowly, more quietly, and most people have absolutely no idea it is happening. Your hair is not going gray because of your genes alone. Your hair is going gray because your stress response is burning through your pigment supply at a rate your body cannot replace. Today, we are breaking down the 3 precise mechanisms inside your nervous system, your hair follicles, and your cells that are turning your hair gray faster than it should. And I am giving you the pigment protection protocol at the end, the 3-step intervention that can slow or even partially reverse the process. Stay until the end. Before we go into the mechanisms, destroy the most dangerous assumption most people carry into this topic. Most people believe gray hair is purely genetic, that it is programmed into your DNA, timed to a biological clock, and there is nothing you can do but wait. That is not the full picture, and leaning on it is costing you years of color. Here is what your hair follicle actually is. Think of it as a manufacturing facility. Every hair strand it produces is assembled in a production line deep inside the follicle. And inside that facility, there is a supply room, a reservoir of specialized cells called melanocyte stem cells, or MESCs. These are the color factories. Every time a new strand of hair grows, a small number of these stem cells are activated, they produce melanin, and that pigment is loaded into the strand. That is how your hair gets its color. The supply room has a finite inventory. You are born with a set number of these stem cells. And when they are gone, they are gone. No more pigment, no more color. The question is, what determines how fast that inventory is depleted? The answer, according to landmark research from Harvard University published in Nature, is stress. Specifically, your fight-or-flight system. Let us break this down mechanism by mechanism. Mechanism 1. The norepinephrine flood. This is the fastest mechanism. The one that explains Marie Antoinette. The one that can alter your hair color measurably in weeks. When you experience acute stress, a life threat, a trauma, a panic spiral, your sympathetic nervous system ignites. This is the fight-or-flight system. It does not just speed up your heart rate and dilate your pupils. It sends a chemical signal through the nerve fibers that thread directly into your hair follicles. And that signal arrives in the form of a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. In a landmark 2020 study published in the journal Nature, researchers at Harvard University, led by Dr. Yechi Su, traced this exact pathway in detail. What they discovered was alarming. When stress triggers a surge of norepinephrine into the hair follicle, it does not gently stimulate the melanocyte stem cells. It forces them into overdrive. The MESCs, which normally sit quietly in their niche, waiting to be activated one by one during each hair growth cycle, suddenly receive a fire alarm signal. They all activate at once. They rapidly proliferate, differentiate, and migrate out of the stem cell reservoir. And here is the catastrophic part. Once they leave the niche, they are used up. They do not return. They do not replenish. You are not just losing color. You are permanently draining your pigment reserve. The researchers confirmed this. Our study demonstrates that neuronal activity induced by acute stress can drive a rapid and permanent loss of somatic stem cells. Rapid, permanent, from a single acute stress event. This is not happening over decades. A single period of sustained high stress, a difficult divorce, the death of a loved one, a financial collapse, can drain years of pigment reserve in a matter of weeks. Your gray hair is not age. It is accumulated alarm bells, and your follicles paid the price. Mechanism 2. The internal bleach. Mechanism 1 depletes your stem cell reserve from the outside, through the nervous system. Mechanism 2 attacks from the inside, through your own chemistry. Inside every hair follicle, your body naturally produces small amounts of hydrogen peroxide, the same compound in the bottle under your bathroom sink. It is a byproduct of normal cellular metabolism. In a healthy, well-functioning follicle, an enzyme called catalase neutralizes this hydrogen peroxide almost instantly, breaking it down into harmless water and oxygen. But here is what stress does to that system. Chronic stress floods your body with reactive oxygen species, biological fire, that damage cells, accelerate aging, and critically, suppress the production of catalase. Your body stops making enough of the enzyme that should be neutralizing the peroxide. A 2009 study published in the FACEP journal confirmed what happens next. Hydrogen peroxide accumulates in millimolar concentrations inside the hair follicle. At those levels, it does not just sit harmlessly. It bleaches melanin from the inside out. It also directly damages the enzyme tyrosinase, the primary enzyme responsible for melanin production itself. No tyrosinase, no melanin production, no color. Research confirms that graying hair follicles have 40 to 60% reduced catalase activity compared to normally pigmented follicles. 40 to 60%. Your follicle is supposed to be equipped with a fire suppression system. Chronic stress disabled it. Now the hydrogen peroxide burns freely, bleaching every new strand of hair before it even leaves the follicle. You are being bleached from the inside. By your own biology. By your own stress. Mechanism 3. The cortisol accelerator. The first two mechanisms are direct. This third one is the multiplier, the force that speeds up both of them simultaneously. Chronic stress is not a single event. It is a sustained biochemical state. And the defining molecule of that state is cortisol. When cortisol stays chronically elevated, it does not just disrupt your sleep and expand your waistline. It generates a continuous background flood of reactive oxygen species, the cellular fire we discussed. And that fire does not spare your hair follicles. A study published in Frontiers in Cell and Developmental Biology confirmed that ROS-induced DNA damage inside hair follicles is one of the primary drivers of accelerated follicle aging. The mitochondria inside melanocytes, the actual color-producing cells, are particularly vulnerable. ROS accumulation damages their mitochondrial DNA, impairs their energy production, and ultimately triggers melanocyte apoptosis. The color-producing cells die. Cortisol also accelerates the process identified in mechanism 1. It creates a chronically hyperactivated sympathetic nervous system, meaning the norepinephrine is not just flooding in during one acute crisis. It is trickling in daily, hour after hour, week after week, steadily draining your melanocyte stem cell reserve like a slow leak in a water tank. You do not see it happening. You look in the mirror one day, and the tank is empty. Here is where the science becomes extraordinary, and where most people get this completely wrong. Most people believe that once a hair turns gray, it is permanent. That is not entirely true, and a 2021 study from Columbia University is the most important piece of evidence in this conversation. Researchers developed a method to map the psychological stress history of individual participants onto segments of individual hair strands, essentially reading stress like a timeline written in hair. What they found shocked even the researchers. When one participant went on a 2-week vacation and their stress dropped dramatically, a gray hair segment that had grown during their high-stress period was followed by a repigmented segment, a strand that had regained its natural color. The conclusion was clear. Hair graying is not always irreversible. There is a window, a critical window that exists as long as your melanocyte stem cell reserve has not been fully depleted. While stem cells remain in the niche, reducing the chemical assault can allow the surviving cells to resume normal pigment production. The gray hair that has already grown out of your scalp will not change color. But the next strand that grows, the strand being assembled in your follicle right now, that one has a chance. 3 precise interventions, all supported by mechanism. Step 1. Extinguish the norepinephrine. Your sympathetic nervous system is the trigger. The most evidence-backed method to downregulate it is structured daily breathwork, specifically extended exhale breathing. A 2023 study confirmed that 5 minutes of slow exhale-dominant breathing measurably reduces sympathetic nervous system activation. Do this every morning before you check your phone. You are defusing the wire before the charge can reach your follicles. Step 2. Rebuild your catalase shield. Your internal bleach defense is broken down. You rebuild it through targeted antioxidant nutrition. Catalase activity is supported by selenium, vitamin E, and glutathione precursors, specifically N-acetylcysteine. Research from Nagoya University found that luteolin, a flavonoid abundant in celery, parsley, and chamomile, directly preserves melanocyte function by protecting endothelin expression in hair follicles. Eat the broccoli. Take the NAC. Add the chamomile. You are restocking the fire suppression system. Step 3. Drain the cortisol reservoir. Cortisol's elevation is chronic, which means the intervention must also be chronic and daily. The two most evidence-backed cortisol regulators are resistance training and sleep quality above 7 hours. A resistance training session lasting 45 minutes measurably reduces cortisol within 24 hours. Deep sleep during the first half of the night is when cortisol's lowest nadir occurs, allowing follicle repair. Miss it, and the next morning's cortisol spike starts from an elevated baseline. Here is the truth they did not teach you about gray hair. Your genetics wrote the possibility. Your stress wrote the timeline. The norepinephrine drained your stem cells. The hydrogen peroxide bleached what was left. And the cortisol accelerated both. This is not cosmetic. This is your nervous system aging your body one strand at a time, and it started years before the first gray hair ever appeared in your mirror. The golden rule. Your hair is a stress diary. Every gray strand is a timestamp. The question is, do you change what you are writing today? The window is still open. The stem cells that remain can still be protected. The follicles under assault right now can still be defended. But not by a supplement, not by a hair dye, and certainly not by ignoring the mechanism. If this breakdown changed the way you see your gray hairs, comment, "I am protecting my pigment" below. Hit the like button so this science reaches people who are blaming their genetics when they should be managing their nervous system. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we are just getting started uncovering the biology they never explained to you.